living life. Living life, right? And I'm looking, saying to myself, something's off. We supposed to be a team, one big family. This is one-sided. Yeah, there's some coaches that are thriving, kudos to them. But there's a whole lot of them that's not. I took offense to that. Because I'm on this platform in the best position I've ever been in my life, guys. And true success, as I said before, is when it leaves my house and enters somebody else's. And I'm watching me be able to do things with my kids I've never been able to do, go places, travel, invest in stuff I've never been able to do. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the same people that put me on this platform struggling. That did not sit right with me. I didn't understand it. How do they have more value, more admiration, more confidence in me than they do in themselves, and you the reason I'm on this platform? Nobody, and I do mean nobody, markets our programs the way you do. Nobody. Groups you set up. Nobody deals with the resistance the way you do. Wrestling with challengers. Trying to build this business with no guarantees except for you. So I'm sitting back and I'm watching this. I said, wait a minute. There's not a guaranteed paycheck here. So the only way they're going to generate revenue is solely on themselves. They got to adjust, equip, acquire some kind of mindset to grow their business. They have to, or else how's it going to grow? And then one of the things that blew my mind is like I go on social media, and before every program comes out, everybody has the same tagline. Straight up. There's a bunch of like everybody following the flow. I see like 50 people with the same tagline for a program. And then you got the people who are outside the bubble, outside the network. It's like, oh, there's another coach. There's another this, there's another that. Nobody's being authentic. And to answer your question, you're an authentic thing? My following grew because I was authentic. But there's a process to being authentic. There's a process that each and every person in here has to go through so that you're comfortable being authentic, right? So I want everybody right now to just good, whether your business is doing good, if it's struggling, if you're just starting, I want you to take take a couple seconds and take just a mental journey on your business. I just did 100 and something plus coach calls from September until I wrap up this week for Proving Grounds, right? You guys know how that works. You get the trainer on, they talk about their program, so you can figure out how to, express this to your challengers. Out of 120, probably 30, 40, maybe 50 calls had nothing to do with Proving Grounds. What's the point of me telling people about this program when they have no belief in themselves, no self-love? Every call I would ask in the little message box, I need 15 people to tell me where you're struggling at in your business. 96% out of about 5,000 or 6,000 people total, right, that I have access to through a call, mindset, belief, inviting, staying consistent, nutrition, top 5. So 96% of those people out of 5,000 or 6,000 coaches that on this team call has the same problem. What about the other percentage that I don't even have access to? Think about that for a second. That's a whole group of people I haven't even spoken to or had a chance to even engage with. That, to me, that's a pretty high number. So I'm saying to myself, wow, you guys had this call scheduled. Some of you structured your schedule to make sure you was on this call because I was on the other side of this call. Again, put me at a place in your life that I don't belong, make sacrifices, show up, and all these different things just to make sure you're on this call, but you don't do that for yourself every day. Think about what I'm saying to you. Got us on this platform, and then because of the platform, some of us, I ain't gonna say some of us, some of them, I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of them, there's a line from that wall to that wall. You the coaches, and you the trainers. That's wrong. Because like I said before, you guys are the heartbeat of this. Without you, we don't exist. And if you don't ever hear that again, I'm telling you. And if somebody got a problem with me telling you that, that's their problem. Because I'm not going to go through another month, another year watching y'all struggle. And I don't even have a program coming out next year. I'm just telling you the truth. So this next year, I'm going all in on y'all's mindset. Straight up. And I want to keep this positive, and I want to paint a picture for you. If you look at your business and you look at the things that you're struggling with, it has nothing to do with you. What do you mean, Chris? It has nothing to do with you. The inviting has nothing to do with you. The inconsistency has nothing to do with you. The mindset of fear has nothing to do with you. The nutrition problem has absolutely nothing to do with you. What do you mean? It's my business. No, you have anchors. Something happened up until this very moment, good and bad, for those who are succeeding or having some kind of success, good or bad, that shaped your mindset for why you are the person you are. The fear you have was projected on you. You believed it. And the only reason why you believed it is because you had no concept of who you really were. No sense of identity, no sense of value, right? The inviting, yep, it's hard to invite others. You know why? Because you never invited and accepted yourself. So you can't invite somebody to something if you never honestly accepted who you are. But you can't accept who you are if you don't know who you are. And because you don't know who you are, you can't run your business. So then you become salesy because you're doing what everybody else is doing, and it's not working consistently. And inside of you right now, there's that sense of motivation or that little glimmer of hope that says, I know I can do this. I know for a fact I can have a successful business. I have the passion for it, the drive for it. I see potential in this, but I just can't grab it. Like I can't hold it. I can't materialize it the way that I know what I'm feeling on the inside. That's your purpose talking to you. And it's reminding you that every answer you need to become the coach and the business and the parent and the spouse you want to be resides within you. It's not an external thing, guys. Everything in your physical, external experience is based on what's on the inside of you. How you believe, what you say, how you feel, and what you hear, what you believe. And your mind. The thoughts you're entertaining. That's the scary part. Because think of some of the things that we could have avoided, including myself. And then things happen. And then things continue to happen. And then it beats us up. And it wears us down, right? That stuff wears you down. And you don't even really have a faith and a hope to even continue on because you're so beat up by life. And so I said, well, I didn't do that. You're right, you didn't do it, but somehow, some way you allowed it to happen. Well, Chris, how did you got molested when you was a kid? You're gonna say you allowed that to happen? First of all, my mom allowed it to happen by having a pedophile babysit me, number one. Number two, I allowed it to happen more than once because I never spoke up the first time. But I was a kid. I didn't know any better. But that anchor is on me now. It's on me. When I was 4 and when I was 6, that anchor is on me, what that guy did to me, right? My mother, substance abuse problems, prostitution, very abusive. Verbally, mentally, emotionally, physically. Last time she spanked me, she dipped me in a bathtub, butt naked, and beat me with an extension cord. All because I hit her crack pipe. My pops, non-existent, don't exist. I was actually conceived out of adultery because my mom was a side chick. So I was a secret. Didn't tell his wife about me. So he was ghost. Here I am. Boy, it's broken, insecure, broken. No sense of nothing, no sense of love. I don't know what a family is. I don't know what any of that represents. And I'm anchored by this, but I have talents. And I hit myself in sports. It's therapy. But it didn't matter how many basketballs I dribbled, how many 20, 30-point games I had, I was still a broken kid. Didn't matter how many touchdowns I scored in high school, didn't matter. I was still broken. So I started realizing I had other talents, started getting into modeling and acting. And it was easy to do acting because I could be somebody else. Ooh, think about that. It was easy for me to portray, to be an acting because for that moment I got to be somebody else. And I got to sell myself completely in that character because I had the characteristics of the character. All I had to do was be that person because I didn't want to be me. But after it's a wrap, what happens? Back in my old broken self. Get a girl pregnant. I go to college, play basketball. The whole time I'm tormented, like, oh man, I'm gonna represent my pops. Like, my kid's gonna be born in a couple months. I'm here at school and people telling me, I know, but make the sacrifices now because your education is gonna be so much better for her now. But I'm thinking about my childhood. I gotta be there for this little girl. I can't. I tried to bring her, I thought about bringing her to New York with me. I had parents on my team that said they would help me raise her. Her mom ended up going into the wrong crowd when she was born. So the first 2 months, I'm playing ball, but I'm distracted. My parents saying, well, just get your daughter, we'll help you raise her, but we want you to finish, get your degree. And I'm like, I can't do this. I went home, I full custody of my daughter. She's, how old is my daughter? 20. She's 20, and I raise her by myself. But when I'm raising her out of fear. The anchors that I'm carrying. The fear of what? Somebody touching my daughter. The fear of what? Being like my mom and my dad. So I got this beautiful kid, right? It looks so much like me. My smile, my little flat nose. And I see me, right? But I'm afraid. I'm afraid to expose her to my life. So I'm protective, very protective. Don't want her to go to her, people's houses for the night. Don't want people to touch on her. Her and I taking road trips. There was a time I was up for a role for Chicago Fire. I ended up getting runner-up. And every time we would go to Chicago, I tricked the agent. So I mailed out like all my packages and all my resume and things to different agents, and the one called, and she didn't know I lived in Ohio. And so when they had me come in, she said, when I had to sign up for the paperwork, she said, you don't have a Chicago address? I said, no, I live in Ohio. Oh, well, we really can't represent you because some of our auditions are like last minute or a day before. I said, man, please, I'll be here. I just need a chance. Like, I know I live in Ohio, it's 5.5 hours away, but if you call me, I will be here. If you give me a 24-hour notice, I am there. So I'll give you a try, I'll give you a chance. I started booking jobs. They start calling, right? More and more. And there was times where I worked for my aunt's cab service. I would save all the tips so that we had travel money. And it cost $187 to get back and forth from Chicago. That's gas, tolls, and feed my daughter. And I'm taking Raven with me, and we traveling up the highway. And she was sitting on audition. I would sit her right in the hallway in the lobby next to the receptionist while I go audition, come back out, and every time we would ride home, I would just look at her and she'd fall asleep. I was like, I gotta do this for her. What I was failing to realize is I was never maximizing my potential in these auditions because I was going with a sense of urgency. I need to book this job because we don't have any money. So what am I taking with me? fear. Ooh, you got that. Golden opportunity, land this job to change our life forever, but I brought fear with me. I studied the script, walked in there with the anchors of being molested, the fear that I carried, didn't get the role. Some jobs I did get, but I didn't get a lot of them. And then I realized something. I'm not even maximizing my potential as a person. And I'm raising this beautiful little girl with a percentage of me. She ain't even getting all of me because I'm anchored by life. Stuff has happened. There's some positive things that happened, and that's what actually kept me going. But she's not even getting the real me anyway, because the molester has me, my mom has me, my dad has me, and I needed to make a decision. Everywhere I go, I'm taking these people with me. They don't even deserve to be there. Birthdays, Chuck E. Cheese, reading time with my daughter, all these different experiences are supposed to make me feel happy as a father, some form of accomplishment as a father, appreciation of a gift. It's a beautiful child, it's a gift. And I'm looking at my daughter through the wrong lenses because I got anchors on me, right? And so these anchors, I had to make a decision. Now in this process, I became prideful. And the pride I had was a pride of defense, meaning like, I'm gonna protect her, I don't need my mom, I don't need my dad, I don't need to forgive anybody. There was resentment there was anger. So I thought that was motivation to move forward, but really I was sinking myself deeper and deeper and deeper. And I had to make a decision. I need that percentage that they have. So A, I could be the best version of myself. B, I can raise my daughter from the real me perspective and not the broken Chris. Because through energy, if I would have continued that path, as she got older, she would have raised her kids with that because I'm recovering. So I would have been projecting my fears, worries, insecurities, and doubts onto her. And I would just pass all my issues down to her. Even though I'm loving on her, don't abuse her, treat her very well, I'm still subliminally releasing that energy in her. Many of you already know, I was at a cookout, 4th of July, my aunt had one. My aunt just passed away a year ago of cancer, beautiful person. And there's a party next door. And the party next door, it's a lot of people, we're having fun, barbecue and everything, you know how it's a great 4th of July experience. I look over, and I look again, and the dude that molested me was at the party next door. Hadn't seen the dude in years. I'm a big, strong man now. I'm not a little kid. And I always said if I ever saw him, I was gonna split him wide open. This is what he did to me, like he got it coming. But now I'm in a different space. I realize there's a lot more at stake. If I do something to him, I'm going to jail, and then I'm gonna lose my daughter because I have full custody of her. The officers don't want to know he molested me certain years ago. They don't care about that. So I had to make a decision. He's got a percentage of me. And everything that I'm doing is affected by it. Everywhere I go is affected by it. So I made a decision. Is it going to be your pride or your purpose? Your pride is to do damage to him. Your purpose is to get that percentage back. Went over to him. Hey man, can I talk to you for a second? He kind of looked at me. He knew who I was because he knows my family. Same face. I convinced him to come in, let's go talk. I didn't want to embarrass him in front of anybody. Walk off with him. Say, hey man, I always said if I ever saw you, I had to talk to you. I looked him right in his eyes. And the eyes is the gateway to somebody's soul. Look in his eyes jumping. Eyeballs jumping all over the place. All over the place. And what I'm seeing in his eyeballs, y'all, is a sick man. He's in bondage to something, but that's not my problem. My problem is I gotta get my percentage back. I can't help him what he went through to make him become the person he became. That wasn't my stuff. He got something in mind. He's got a portion of me that I need. Eyeballs jumping all over the place. I said, man, if I ever saw you, I had to have a conversation with you. And I want you to know, man, I pray that you never put your hands on another kid. But man to man, I forgive you for what you did to me. You don't have to look over your shoulders anymore. But I want you to know, I forgive you. Eyeball still jumping. Looks down. And to me, that wasn't enough. I didn't even touch this guy. So I grabbed him, put my arm around him, and hugged him. Inside he said, got it. As soon as he did that, his eyes started welling up. Tried to explain himself. You don't owe me an explanation. That's something he got to work out. My job is to get my percentage back. See, you work out on your own time, boss. You don't need to talk about it. Just want to let you know me and you was good. Go back to the picnic. Too emotional inside, left, went home. As I'm driving, bawling my eyes out. The big, thick tears, the ones that give you a headache after you finish crying. Big ones. Big ones. The ones that, like, they drop. That one. Bawling, right? You barely see in front of me. Get home, sit on my couch, bawling. Grab my phone, hadn't spoken to my mom in years. Pick up the phone. Shh. Hey, Mom. Chris. Mom. I just want to tell you something. I forgive you for all the abuse. Forgive you for everything you did to me. Make up in Raven's life what you couldn't do in mine, Mom, and we good. My mom starts crying, starts explaining herself. I know this guilt. I don't know, it's okay, Mom. No. Because what happens is if I'd allowed my mom to walk that out, she could have gotten with some self-pity. And I could have took it right back. No, Mom, you work that out. Just want to let you know we good. Pick up the phone, call my pops right afterwards. Dad hadn't cried in 10 years. Pops, he was so shocked that I was on the other line of the phone because I didn't talk to him. I don't talk to him. Forgive you, Dad, for not being there for me, for not throwing the football with me, for not teaching me how to be a man, not giving me the blueprint of life. Make up a Raven's life what you didn't do in mine, Dad, and we good. My pops broke down on the phone. Starts telling me how, now, that's okay, Dad, you work that out, man, we good. Now at that point, true forgiveness is I had to treat them as if they'd never done anything to me. I gotta treat them like we was the Brady's. Like they raised me, they took great care of me. That's how that's true forgiveness. I had to portray that to secure what I took back. I can't treat them as if they did something wrong if I say I forgave them, because then I just gave my situation back to them. But I needed it because I'm robbing her and I'm robbing myself. I got all this talent and I can't even step into it. I tried to start a supplement business. It failed because those anchors was on me. Go to the bathroom,